Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. You know the drill. You know the score. You know the thing. At the beginning, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who likes, subscribes, comments, shares, or does anything with this video at all. Maybe you jerk off to it, I don't know. Maybe you watch it just so you can disagree with me. That's fine too, I don't care. But I want to say thank you to everybody that watches the video, and also thank you to everybody who listens on the audio-only podcast on Anchor.fm or Spotify or somewhere like that. You are all equally as important to me as a box full of puppies in a house fire. You can't just rescue the cutest one. No. You have to rescue them all. Because you don't want to be known as the guy who committed a brave act by running into a house fire, but you only rescued one puppy out of that box because the rest of them were a little ugly. Maybe they were missing a leg, or one of them had that weird eye that looks the other way, and that's just gross. No, you got to rescue them all. And they're all special, just as you are all special to me. I've talked before about my religious upbringing, but I thought I could use that. You know, the more I thought about it, the more I thought I could use that as a guide to let people know if you want to get laid, if you want to have sexual congress with a member of the opposite sex, I'm going to give you this handy dandy video guide on how to do that right now. As I said, I don't know if you've listened before. Maybe this is your first time. But the story never gets old. I grew up in a very religious household. A very, not religious, we went to church once a week. We went on special holidays, but I'm talking 3, 4, 5 times a week for different things. It was a Pentecostal church, and if you don't know Pentecostal churches, they believe the Bible word for word. The King James Version with all the weird ways they talk. They believe that 100%. Everything in there. Like literally every fucking thing in there. Including the miracles and the raising the dead, the healing of the sick, the speaking in tongues, the dancing in the aisles because you're filled with the Holy Ghost, and the signs and miracles and all that good stuff that never ever happens outside of a church meeting for some reason. Like, you don't go into if that were true, couldn't we just walk into a cancer ward? A children's cancer ward, and just pray for them, lay our hands on their forehead, and go, oh, you're healed in the name of Jesus. Or English, Jesus. Could we just do that? Apparently not, because that's only meant for the inside of the church, for the people that believe, they tell you. And the weird thing about growing up in that kind of thing is that you didn't have any opinion. Like, if you were you get to a certain age. I grew up there since I was a child. And in my teens, I was like, man, some of this stuff doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Noah had an ark because God got mad about something, and he threw a temper tantrum and just decided to kill everybody on the face of the earth except for that Noah guy and his family, because they were the only good people here. And 2 of every single animal got on that goddamn boat to survive. And that's why we have all the animals today. Even by their specifications in the Bible, there's no way they could have held that many animals. And why, if that was true? Especially the ones with wings, right? Like, how are you going to keep them in the fucking ark? And why mosquitoes, man? I live in Cambodia. Mosquitoes are really bad here. I kind of hate Noah for that. Why did you include the mosquitoes to stop it? But you start having little doubts about things. And if you go to talk to somebody about it within the church, the only answer you're going to get is, oh, you know what? That's just Satan. That's the devil. That's Beelzebub. That is the enemy trying to tempt you into sin and not believing. That's the only answer you get. And because you grew up in that environment, in the Sunday schools and shit, you just think, oh my God, I know about this Satan guy. The devil, he doesn't seem too cool to me. I don't want nothing to do with that. Why is he attacking me? And so you're just kind of left to discover things on your own. You don't talk about things like, you can't go to your leadership at the church and say, I've been, when you're 13 or 12, whatever, and say, I've been having some weird feelings in my genital area. And when I look at this certain girl, I don't know what happens. It feels like some light feathery fingers are tickling my nutsack, and I don't know how to deal with that, because obviously it's wrong. I shouldn't be having these feelings because we're not married. What do I do? And they'll just say, that's the devil tempting you, my son. Of course, how do they explain how all of us got here without sex? I don't know. That's a whole nother thing, but that's what they tell you. But as I got older, I realized you can kind of use that to your advantage, so to speak. Like, I was dating a woman. We were both 19, I think, 19 or 20. This was before I went in the military, and that's how long it took me to get out of this brainwashing. It took me joining the military and going overseas, thousands of miles away, before I could begin to question these things I had believed my whole life without any judgment or anybody coming over for kind of a spiritual intervention, because they would do that sometimes. If somebody started asking too many questions about religion, they would just send like a hit squad to your house and sit you down and preach at you from every angle until you were so confused you just went, okay, I'm sorry, I thought differently. That's how bad it is. But yeah, we were both like 19, 20 years old, something like that. And we'd been dating for a while, and we'd make out sometimes. Things would get a little heavy, but she would always stop me at that moment that every guy wants, And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, well, what's going on? How come we can't have sex? I'd already had sex before. It was like, I found it to be enjoyable enough. How come I can't do it with this person? And it all came down to this. And this is what I want to let you youngsters know. If you ever want to get laid, go to a Pentecostal church and act like the bad boy. Just pretend like, I don't know if I believe in God, but I'm going to hang out here because you people seem cool. And just kind of go up to the girl, start chatting them up, and just casually let it slip. I don't know if I believe any of this, but, I respect you, so I'll hang around. And eventually, that's going to get you laid. Because they love the bad boys. And they are taught to, we have to, as Pentecostals, our job was to convert people to our religion as often as possible in almost any means necessary kind of way. And so the girl might think, I really don't want to have sex with him, but, well, if it makes him a Christian, God will forgive me later, but if it makes him a Christian, let's just all get naked. But I've been dating this girl, and she wouldn't give it up, And I'm a respectful man. No means no. I never crossed the line, never forced, never cajoled. I may have offered him money, but I do that often anyway. So, who knows? But it never happened. Until one day when I just said, I don't know about this. I don't know about this religion anymore. I have a lot of questions. Nobody's answering. I just don't know. And she kind of changed her mind right then. She was like, "What? What do you mean?" And I was like, I just don't know. I have a lot of questions. Everybody's just saying it's the devil, but I don't know if it's the devil. And so for a few more weeks, things went on like that. And I realized the more I talked about that, the more I talked about how much I'm thinking about leaving the religion, the closer she tried to get to me. The more physical she tried to be with me. She would hold my hand more. She would have more physical contact with me. And I thought to myself, I'm on to something here. And then one day, we were just sitting on my couch at my parents' house. And she was over there. My parents were gone. We were just watching TV. And we were making out a little bit. And she said, do you still feel the same way about the religion? And I was like, yeah, I just don't know. And she was like, listen, we can have sex if you want. I was like, yes, but she said, I just have to know there's a commitment. I don't want to have sex unless I know the man I'm going to be with is going to be true to me and going to marry me, and we're going to have something long term. And of course, my mind at that point, I was like, I will marry you. No problem. I was like, is that all you were thinking? That I wasn't going to? Oh, come on. Of course I was. I'd never thought that ever. Like I had a job, I made money, but I didn't have a house. I didn't even have a car. I didn't even have a driver's license at that point. That's a fact that will come in handy later. I didn't have shit. I was like, even at that age, I was like, why would she even care if I wanted to marry her? What am I going to do for her? I can't take care of her. I can barely take care of myself. And, but at that moment I said, okay. And that was all it took, guys. That was all it took. And next thing we're down on the couch and clothes are coming off and people are getting naked. Well, not all people, just me and her. And we proceed to start the deed. Yay. Until tragedy struck. And here's the part of the story. And by the way, this is a true story. I'm not making this up. This is the part of the story that sucks, for lack of a better word. Because just as I was really getting into it, and I was like, oh, this is good, all of a sudden she started moaning in a weird way, but I thought, oh man, I'm better than what I thought. And I should have known better than that, because I'm never better than what I thought. I'm probably 3/4 of how good I think I actually am, but never quite there, much less better. No matter what I'm talking about, no matter what I'm doing, I always think I'm at least 1/4% less better than what I think. At least. Never better. And all of a sudden it was like, ow, 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 ow. And she just started crying, like tears and screaming. And then I realized this was not in any kind of sexual excitement. She was in pain for some reason. I couldn't figure out. So I all of a sudden pulled out, which was really, really rough. And she looked down, and there was a little bit of blood down there, and not from woman time of month blood, just a little bit of blood. And she's crying, and she's in pain. She sits up, and she's hunched over like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck did I do? Do I have some kind of magic penis? I don't know what happened. And she has to go to the hospital. She has her own car. I don't have a car. My parents are gone. I don't have a driver's license. They would never let me drive their car anyway, because they never wanted to teach me that kind of thing. And there's a whole story behind that why I didn't have a license I'll get into at another time. But still, I didn't have one. So she gives me the keys to her car. I have to go to the hospital. I have to go to the hospital. And I'm like, I've never really driven a car. I don't know anything about how to drive. Okay, let's go. So we get in her car, and I'm driving as one would expect how a person who has never really driven a car drives. I'm all over the road. I don't know, like I'm overcompensating all the time, trying to figure out how to get the steering wheel and the brakes and the gas, and I'm a mess. But we finally make it to the hospital, and luckily, I pull up to the emergency room door. They come and take her out. She's still crying. She's still in pain. By the way, we both got dressed in case I didn't mention that part. Somebody might mention, oh, you went to the hospital naked. That's weird. No, we both got dressed. But and luckily, back then, hospitals were really good at taking care of their patients, or as I like to call them, customers, as they should, since the amount of money we're paying is ridiculous, beyond belief. But a nurse came out and said, no, you go in with her. Let me park your car. You just wait in the waiting room, and I'll bring you your keys right back in. I'll park it. Which was good, because we were in front of the emergency room door, and once she left, I have no idea, like, I don't know how to steer the thing. I don't know how to get to, what am I going to do? Am I going to back up? Am I going to, I don't know. I don't know what the hell to do. So yeah, that was great. And we get up there, and you have to understand that she had a father, very, very, very scary and religious man. Like, scary in the hellfire and brimstone kind of way father. Like, he would go to his church, stand outside the door every Sunday and greet people with a smile. The only time you'll ever see that man smile. But just smile, pats on the back. Hey, Bob. Hey, Jane. Hey, ex-gay guy, because thank God Jesus converted you. You know, that kind of thing when they were coming into church. But at home, he was very, very controlling, very, very manipulative. Treated her mom like crap because her mom didn't go to his church, and he thought that was disrespectful to him, and he had to control every situation, never smiled at home. And so, of course, they called her parents, and they showed up. Now, the situation I'm in is that he is probably going to kill me if he finds out that somehow, during our first sexual encounter, his daughter got hurt vaginally. It's just, that is not good for a religious family. But that's probably what's going to happen. And while we were waiting for them to show up, there was actually a nurse that came out and said, okay, to determine what's wrong with her, we're going to need to know what led up to this. What events led up to this? And I'm thinking in my mind, oh my gosh, should I just tell them the truth? Like, hey, we were having sex for the first time, and she just started being in pain. I don't know. Maybe it's my magic penis. I don't know. Or should I just say nothing, because this information is going to get back to her parents. And that's my second tip I want to tell you guys. I decided to go with the lie, because her father would have killed me. And nobody needs that kind of stress in their life when it's already a stressful night. So I decided, I don't know, we were sitting there watching TV, and she started complaining of pains, and the next thing I know, she's crying, and I rushed her here to the hospital. That's all I know. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh God, I hope she didn't tell him the truth. Oh, geez, I hope she's not in there going, we were fucking, and I started bleeding. Luckily, she did not. But the point is, after it was all done, and her parents are sitting there, and her father's sitting there looking at me the whole time. Hey, maybe it was my imagination, because I knew I was feeling a little guilty and like, but it just seemed like he was staring at me weirdly. And finally the doctor came out, and he explained what happened. He goes, she had a cyst inside of her vagina somewhere. She had a cyst. And he was like, no, normally these kind of cysts don't cause pain or discomfort unless they're disturbed in some way. And I was like, oh my God. But he said, but it's not unheard of for them to cause these kinds of things normally as well. It happens. And I was like, those were the magic words. Oh, thank God. Because her father might not have believed me, but he would definitely believe the doctor. And she didn't say anything, so we were off the hook for that one. So even though this story ended horribly, terribly, the point is, go to a Pentecostal church. Tell them you're thinking about the faith, but you're not sure. Chat up some of the ladies, and you will get laid. Hopefully it don't end as horribly as that first time did for me. And by the way, just in case you think I'm a dog for saying I would marry this chick just for sex, I want you to know that was my first wife. I did wind up marrying her, and it turned out horribly, as you can imagine. But talk about that at another time. All right. That's really all I wanted to say. I will talk to you guys. You want to say goodbye? She's watching something on her phone over there. What are you watching? What are you listening to? Oh, watch a TV show?
TV show with Annie.
Oh, okay.
They're doing what to talk.
Oh, okay. She's listening to somebody talk. All right. Anyway, as always, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out all my links down below. My PayPal link is down there if you want to send me a little something, so I can buy a little something. A live show app, their link is down there. Great comedians, 3-minute sets, live 3 times a day, and all for free. Get your comedy on down there. Also links to my other channel, Dave Does Cambodia, my main channel. And that will tell you all about living in Cambodia, how to do it, what to do, all the latest news coming from here, and everything else. And I'll do it in a way that's way more entertaining than on here. So you can look forward to that. All right, that'll do it for this one. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And don't let Buddha finger your ass.